All right.
Excellent.
So I'm here with Kent. This is another mentee of mine as part of my volunteer work for the Agile Institute. So introduce yourself, Kent, and say hello to the millions and millions of people watching.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kent. Happy to be a part of this program. Happy to be here with Graham, and I hope you get some value out of this.
All right. So let's dive into the magical wheel of mentoring from the Avoda Institute, their transformational coaching model with the TM. It's trademarked. So the place I like to start is with the present situation. So like the idea is to get a picture of the present situation, figure out how that's different from the preferred future, and then make a plan, do something. Not only during this mentorship session, but going forward into the next one to make that future vision make what's happening now align and get towards that future vision. So tell me a bit about your present situation, um, and uh, and then after that, let's discuss how that's different from kind of a preferred future.
Well, as far as how presently the course, the Agile Learning Program, the Odin Project, all that stuff that we're going through, how that's all going is as we've discussed, I've just been focusing on another course I was working on with the Python data analysis stuff. So I was doing a lot of coding with that, and presently need to pick up this curriculum. I believe I'm where we had kind of left off was the CSS foundations. Was what I was about to get into. So where I am is uh, jumping back in, kind of touching base with everything that I had gotten to, and um, getting back into the flow of this program particularly.
Okay, and yeah, this doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, the Agile Institute stuff that we laid out. Like my goal is to help you get to your preferred future. So could you talk a little bit about like what your goals are and like what you're intending to try to do by participating in Agile mentorship?
Yeah, the mentorship is for me. It's pretty cool because for me, I'm in the process of switching up careers for lack of a better word, but more of my whole kind of outlook on life being that I was very heavily into music, and then this switch into I'm in the engineering program, and then the Agile Institute I'm doing kind of alongside. I'm doing an engineering degree, getting this program. So having somebody you can ask questions to, somebody that I mean, even at the university, it's sometimes difficult to get just somebody to be like, how does this work? How does how should I approach this problem? How should where can I look for solutions or tools to add to my toolkit? And having a mentor is just important for me because I'm making such kind of a dramatic shift that there's uh, a lot of like little tiny gaps in knowledge or expertise that I need to fill. And um, have like I said, having in sort of an expert that I meet with regularly that's familiar with tech and familiar with more specifically the computer science level of stuff is super helpful to me. Um, like I said, it's helping me in filling in those gaps, those questions that I don't know where to ask. So this is a really important thing for me because I'm not coming from a background learning tech stuff. I'm climbing up this ladder from scratch. So it's great to have a mentor.
Okay. Um, all right. So yeah. So the next part would be the agreement. During our time together, what would you like to accomplish? Is the generic, but you can kind of it's open ended. So that's the question.
So kind of what I hope to do this week, or how should we
Yeah,
narrow that?
and that's the
Oh,
open-endedness is
oh yeah,
yeah.
okay.
What would you like me to do for you in the next 22 minutes? What would you like to try to accomplish by the next time we meet? You know, that's where it's open-ended.
Okay. Maybe today we can kind of just crack open the CSS stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, in the next week, I'm just going to be going through this next little CSS Foundations thing, and yeah, I don't know. I hardly know anything about CSS. I know it's sort of a bit how it works conceptually, but I've never messed with it at all. So if we could just get like a little bit of overview of what CS is and how it works, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So okay. So what are some ideas you have for that? An idea I have is I've got. Are you aware of the Google Drive curriculum? Yeah, I see that you're logged into that. So like,
Yeah, I just got it open. I was looking at it.
yeah, so I'm like cleaning that up. I think that would be a good place to start. So like, do you have the HTML foundations? Am I good to check the last two and then move that to the celebrated?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have the link to the recipes, or are you moving on?
I have the project done. Are you talking about the GitHub link?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know I did the project. I can't remember because it was like right around there that everything got really complicated for me. Just May was a doozy. There was a lot of stuff going on, and things got real thick in my schedule. And I don't know if I ever actually sent that up the way, but definitely I finished that project.
Okay. All right.
Um, let me see if I can't find it. Well, I don't want to spend time.
Yeah. We're
I'll look for it
gonna.
this week. I know the project got done. Let's uncheck the GitHub until I can confirm.
Okay. I'll just add a new item. I'll say share HTML recipes link.
Okay, yeah, I know it's done. I don't I haven't even I don't even remember where I put it. It's in a folder somewhere.
Okay, and then there's just other things here. There was a data analysis certification. Are you working on that? Were you working on it?
Yeah, I'm wrapping that up. I have a capstone project to do with that,
Okay.
and that's just Python, SQL, um, learning NumPy, Matplotlib,
Yeah.
Pandas, all those libraries for the specific purpose of um, just being able to handle and parse out raw data, which I found fascinating.
Yeah.
How I mean, it wasn't like no, it wasn't like a breeze, but with I think with some pretty simple tools, you're able to do some pretty complicated stuff
Yeah, for sure.
um, in like a Jupyter notebook. You know what I'm saying? Like those are really cool. The whole course has been really fascinating. The capstone is kind of like the project that I'm working on is kind of a scenario where I have to think like I have a client that has a particular need, um, and it's pretty big. But the last thing we were doing is really the matplotlib visualizations and uh, how to read the data and know which visualization you really need to be able to pull up, and just the power that all those functions have. That was really cool. So yeah, I'm finishing that one up. I only have like another week to go. It's like I just got to finish and um, turn in my final project. But yeah, that was great. That was super cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
happy to hear
and
that. I'm gonna. Yeah. Go
and
ahead.
I know that you're fluent with Python, so I'll definitely be asking you some questions when I run into professional snags like in the real world. So that another reason why the mentorship is great. Just like when you get those really weird snags, where do you go? So you'll, I'm sure you'll come in handy and be a good support for that too.
Okay, great. So yeah, those are some ideas. So yeah, the step we're doing now is cleaning up the curriculum. So celebrated, that belongs in celebrated. That's amazing that you're almost done with that. That search is going to go really, really far. Um, and then so so we've also got so the last thing in the now scope besides CSS is there was a tutorial to learn Git branching. Did you go through that?
No, I have not gone through that.
Okay. Do you want me to leave that there or to move it somewhere
Yeah,
else?
yeah, sure. Well,
Okay.
leave it there, and yeah, I'll go through that tutorial this week.
All right. Yeah. So that brings me to the. So I think the now scope is now. I think I'll move these other ones to next, and leave that in now. Um.
Okay.
So. Uh. Okay. Okay. So I need to select everything, and then move it. Okay. So. Yeah. CSS foundations. And okay, and then so yeah, I think that was uh, that's good idea to continue on with that, especially that data cert. That'll go really really far. Learn the basics of actual software development, which it's a good HTML, CSS, JavaScript is a good place to start. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so first step, we got the goals more clarified in the curriculum. So what would you like to? So next time we meet, we're set up for 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to discuss because we could do every 2 weeks, but I could also go back to a weekly thing now. So it could work either way. I don't know if I know that you said sometimes on Mondays you have something going on. Um, so it really just depends on. Um, I guess I'm open to doing it every week, or we could keep it on every other week, and I could just get larger chunks done, and we could discuss them every other Monday. How do you feel about it?
I've so my Monday is yeah, it's a little bit tight for me on Monday because I'm done at work at 6 p.m. Uh,
And
typically,
this is yeah, and like 7 o'clock for me is 6 p.m. for you, right? You're
yeah.
1 hour back.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Actually, we could change the day as well.
How is Saturday?
What depends on what time Saturday.
At 11 a.m.
I would say most Saturdays that would be fine. Occasionally, we could either like move the day or just skip a week or something because sometimes something comes up or I'm not really touring much. I'm not really on the road with bands right now. I'm doing a lot of like in town lessons. But like this Saturday, I've got to do like a 4 hour lesson block to do some makeup lessons. So occasionally 11 wouldn't work. We could do it some other time. I don't know. Maybe we could do it on Saturdays and have it just a little bit of flexibility. I
Yeah,
don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think it might make sense to do it weekly on Saturdays, and then if there's a conflict, just skip it for that week, and then meet
Okay.
back 2 weeks later.
Let's just do that and see how that works. I'm totally down with that.
Okay, and then that will start. How about the on the 29th, since we're already meeting this week, or do you want to meet on the 22nd?
Looking at my calendar. No, the 29th works fine. Yeah. Actually, no. Like this Saturday wouldn't work. So yeah, the 29th is great.
Okay, yeah. So I think that yeah, that'll be that's like exactly. Uh, okay, so yeah, 11 on Saturdays. Unless there's a conflict, then hopefully it'll just be infrequent enough so that it averages out to maybe like 1.5 times a week, something like that. Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
So, uh, so what would you like? So next time we meet, which will be on the 29th, what would you like to be able to share with me?
Well, hopefully I can share the capstone project if that should be done by next week, so I should be able to show you what all that was like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The Yeah, that would be cool. And then the let how dense would you say the CSS stuff is?
Um,
Is it a pretty tricky coding thing? Is it a lot to know? How dense is this section here?
so let's see here. This is the CSS. I guess well, I mean, we can make a direct comparison now, right? Because you're learning pandas and Python and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, it's hard to say, especially since I haven't gone through this exact thing. But I would say it's a bit comparable. It's
Okay.
probably a bit less dense than like hardcore pandas, capstone level data science stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that's my assessment of that.
Okay. Then
Are you already
especially since
using VS Code?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, it shouldn't be that dense then, because like I think a lot of this intro stuff is like basically just getting used to using tools like VS Code, which if you're doing data science
Okay.
stuff, you should already be used to.
Okay. So at least we could get in past the CSS found. I mean, since it's 2 weeks, um, at least through the intro to CSS and maybe like one more. I don't know what the cascade is, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
let's see. The CSS, the cascade. Um, Honestly, these don't look like terribly long sections.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We could be conservative here and say maybe through the intro to CSS and maybe through the cascade. And I'll let you know if I get more. I don't know until I dive in what I think I'm capable of. But I remember the HTML was fairly straightforward. I didn't have any problems getting through that stuff. So
Okay. All right. So I'll just mark these next to as like a stretch goal.
okay.
All right. Okay. So the last part of the wheel is kind of the awkward one. Is transformation. The default question is how are your discoveries making a difference for you? But I think since we were on hiatus while you were dealing with other stuff, I think it makes sense to dedicate a lot of time to this one. So like, what discoveries are you making? Like, we haven't met in a while, so like what have you discovered in that time? And like, tell me about the transformation you're making to try to uh, create your preferred future, which we discussed was a career change, which is massive. That's one of the reasons
Sure.
we
Yeah.
got matched up, because that's how I got into my career. I changed from
Yeah.
playing viola.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so the 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 data analyst course, I am going to once I get done. I mean, the certification comes immediately, and then I'm going to rewrite my resume. So I'm going to be working towards a job that I can do part time when I go back to school this fall for the engineering degree. Which this won't. This is something I want to continue even through the fall and while I'm in school. But I am hoping in the next by the end of this month to start being able to send out applications. Um, so that switch is coming in real time for me. Like I'm not far away from being able to dip my toe into a job that's relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're discovering your short term goal with this, which is to have a part time job while going to school, which some people work in the cafeteria. You're going to be working as a data scientist or something related to that.
Hopefully, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something related. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me more about like your discovery in this regard. So like, have you? Is there anyone like how did this idea form? Did you meet somebody else that was like making this happen?
Well, no, but knowing that Python was a language that I was going to have to get to know. Um, so in that sense, yeah, some older kids in the program were like, these are the things that you might want to go ahead and get familiar with, and Python was definitely one of them.
Cool.
Apparently, it's used a lot in uh, controlling machines, and it's just an easy language to fit in a lot of places. Anyway, so I was like, okay, cool. And then I did a lot of research about fields where there's growth, fields where there's, flexibility, things that are remote, things that are doable in a short amount of time since I started this in late January. So I knew I wasn't in school last semester because I took it off just to kind of retool some things like this. And um, when I was digging around Coursera, I was digging around, like Udemy and edX and Coursera and some of these other places. Coursera had an IBM data analyst and a data scientist, but the analyst was probably more practical. So they had a course, and it was you could get certified through IBM, and I was like, okay, that kind of ticks some boxes. There's those jobs can be remote. They tend to pay decent. I mean, they're not like extremely high paying until you move up the ladder a little bit, but an entry level job could, is enough money to work with school, and it just sort of kind of fell into place. It sort of appeared as an option that was really going to work for what I was looking for. And I jumped in, knowing Python was going to be something that I needed to learn, and this was a Python heavy course. And that was something I actually made sure of before, that I was actually going to get Python out of it, and it did not disappoint. Like all we've done is mostly Python. Maybe a little SQL with Python mixed in with using the magic, like the cell magic formulas and stuff like that. So it when it was kind of all lined up, I just pulled the trigger, and that's how I kind of got down this rabbit hole.
Okay, so you did online research, you spoke to other people in the field, and you learned about Python. You learned about some of the job roles out there that check all the boxes. Data scientist, science
Yes.
seems to be where they
Yeah.
belong.
Yeah.
So,
And
yep.
also, it's become very apparent at how fast AI is moving. That understanding the elements of AI, not just how to use a chat module or whatever, not how to apply AI to our lives, but how to sort of build some of those, machine learning modules. How the AI, how do you start compiling and building those things? There's just a nod in this course to machine learning, which was a little bit interesting to me because it's just so relevant. That was another thing that really grabbed me. It was like, you know,
I'll
Python being very lending itself to machine learning modules, being relevant to how AI is moving and how quickly. It just felt like that was something I needed to know, needed to kind of get my hands on. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, yeah. With AI, there's it's based on an underlying technology where the more power you give it, the better it performs. So the
Hmm.
next few decades are just all going to be about which company, which government can build the biggest data center that can train the best models.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like, I may have only dipped my big toe in, but at least I got something in that pool. So I was happy to have that.
Yeah, yeah, data is a huge part of AI for sure.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of everything. I don't think anything functions without data these days.
Yeah, these days. Yeah, even in the old-timey days they had, paper and
True.
pencil.
Absolutely.
Like the Apollo missions, they were doing hand calculations and
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. But they needed to know every scrap of weather data they had on that day, or
Yeah.
anything that they could predict. That, yeah, everything is decisions. Problem solving is a series of decisions, and decisions need data, and someone's got to hand that data to the people upstairs. So it seems so relevant to so many things. The data analyst course, I was just like, okay. Um, my degree is a lot more math and technology, and then the data just seemed like an obvious sort of deficit for my mechatronics degree that I feel really good about sort of filling in that gap a little bit.
Python data
So
analysis.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you're building a robot and you're gonna have to run tests, you're gonna have to like test, is this material suitable for a robotic arm, or is this capacitor what we, I don't, you're just always going to have to run simulations and tests, and you're going to have to look and stare at data before anything really gets built in the real world. So it feels like I'm going to need it regardless.
And to have a sense of whether or not the data is high quality.
Hmm. And if it's not, how to know how to deal with it myself, like, what do we need to do? Plus, I haven't touched statistics in forever, so it's a really good review of that material. So
All right, so yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like you're on a good track here. We've got some goals for, we've got the date set for the 29th. We're going to do it on camera, just the way I like it on my channel. On my channel, I'm doing, I'm reading something written about what the next decade might look like in the context of AI continuing to develop. So I'm not trying to distract you there, but I'm just uh, self-promoting myself. But but yeah, so that's the end of the mentorship session. We've got the goals here with the CSS Foundation. So with that, I'll give you the last word, then I'll stop the recording, and then we can hang up the call.
all right, sounds good.
All right, so stopping the recording.